everyone. My name is Paul Purdue, and I am the infrastructure nerd. Not just any infrastructure nerd, but the infrastructure nerd. Don't ask me why, I just decided it today. Today we are here to talk about Legal Anywhere. Legal Anywhere is a document extranet system that has been designed and implemented in such a way that it can be hooked directly into Worldox. Now, as many of you know, we are a premier systems integrator for Worldox, and we have a lot of Worldox installs, and we have been looking for a product like this. We found this one, did a little bit of research, and picked it as being the best of what's out there. And so today we're going to take a look into how that functions, how it hooks into Worldox, and also how it doesn't, simply because there are some people that may be interested in Legal Anywhere that don't have Worldox and still want to get their documents out into an extranet environment. Of course, being able to go into Worldox and, as you'll see, just right-click on a file or group of files and have them go straight up to the extranet, that's kind of cool. But it's also possible to do without Worldox. But before we get into that, let's do a little housekeeping. This that you are seeing right now on my screen is the GoToWebinar control panel. If you are seeing this on your screen, then that means you have not clicked this button here that looks like an arrow pointing to the right, because if you had, this would have collapsed and this button would have changed into an arrow pointing to the left. Clicking it again would cause this to slide back into focus. You want to get rid of it so that you can see what's going on. You may want to bring it back because you may feel shy and still want to ask a question. So if you just want to type a question and have Leanne, our humble and skilled moderator, interrupt me at the appropriate time and ask your question on your behalf, type it here. But if instead you're feeling bold and you'd like to ask your question live, press this button, which looks like a hand with an arrow pointing upwards in front of it, which means raise your hand. Leanne will see that, and when it is appropriate, she will interrupt me and unmute you and let you ask your question. So without any further ado, let's take a look at Legal Anywhere. This is the main sign-in screen for Legal Anywhere. It's looking for a user ID and a password, and in a minute we're going to log in as B Client. We've decided that we think that's Bob Client, but you can put whatever first name you want in front of it. It's just a username. But before we do that, I want to draw your attention up here. You'll notice Williams Faulkner is my fake law firm. They are a global solution provider, obviously, as you can see by their tagline here. And so we have created a branded experience for the person who's visiting this client extranet. They will not know that they are leaving your website. Now, you do, because you look up here and you see legalanywhere.net and ACS demo. That's just an area that's been put aside for us to demonstrate these things. You don't need to have it look like this. We can set it up in such a way that it would be something like clients.williamsfaulkner.com or clients.whatever your domain name is .com or extranet or anything. So it can look as if it is part of your web presence, part of your web infrastructure. It can look as if your firm is providing this sort of sophisticated extranet capability directly from within the confines of your computer network, when in fact what's really happening is you've got a web site that is merely redirecting to something on the Legal Anywhere cloud, if you will. And so this sophisticated capability is out there being supported by Legal Anywhere, but it looks to the client like it's yours. Now I'm going to log in, as I said, as B Clients and put in my password. And I get to the main Williams Faulkner Secure Client Area screen. That's because that's where B Client has been set to go. And in a minute you'll see that we have a lot of control over that. But right now we're in this main screen that talks about who Williams Faulkner is and gives me, B Client, access to my matters. And for this demo, we've set up B Client to have access to corporate, IP, litigation, and real estate as areas within the extranet that this person can access. You'll notice if you click on corporate and expand the menu that Legal Anywhere actually is designed to hold things other than just documents. We're going to look at documents primarily today because that's what we're here to talk about. But we can also have the ability to search those documents, the ability to have contact information for the people that are tied to this matter. We can have a matter homepage. This matter homepage describes Water's Edge, which is the matter that's being displayed here. And then, of course, we have our documents. Now, if we go down here to discussions, this is a pretty neat feature that I'd just like to touch on very briefly. We can set up a forum type or online discussion board type areas where people can be granted access to talk about different things in an online type of forum. And that can be also very helpful when you have people getting together from outside your law firm, co-counsel, opposing counsel, sometimes judges, most often the different people from the client site, and being able to not only see these documents and act on them, but also to discuss them and to discuss other aspects of the case. So that's just something to consider. We're going to go over here to documents, and when we do, we see our document tree. Now, you've got the ability to have subfolders, and they can be many layers deep. When you click on a folder, you see the documents that are within that folder. Now, this particular person I logged into first because some of the documents that this person is looking at are secure, meaning they can't download them, they can't change them, they can't even block text. You'll notice that nothing, even though this is a readable document in the normal infrastructure for the firm, this person, when looking at it, they end up with a do not distribute confidential watermark on the back. They end up with no ability to block text, which is what I'm trying to do right now. If they right-click, they don't get anything. Take my word for it, I am right-clicking right now and nothing is coming up. So there is this ability within Legal Anywhere to have documents that really cannot have anything done to them except be looked at. You also, of course, have the ability to have documents that you can block text and that you can download, and you can, if you're granted the right permission, check out, modify, and check back in. So you have a lot of functionality here on a user-by-user basis, on a case-by-case basis, on a document-by-document basis to protect to whatever level is desirable for that situation, the particular document at hand. Very helpful in an extranet situation because control is the key to a successful extranet. Giving too many people the right access to the wrong things can not only be bad, it can be litigious. Is that the right word? You can get sued over it. There can be malpractice if the wrong people have access to the wrong stuff. So having this sort of control, having this ability to segment things and break down who has access to what, very, very important in an extranet system. Now I'm going to log out, and I'm going to come back in as counsel. And the reason I'm going to do that is because counsel has certain capabilities, certain privileges, certain rights that B client did not. So now if we look at all the different documents and look at the functions, we can do things that B client couldn't. We can check out a document, we can download a document, we can rename one, we can get a link. Now B client had this capability to get a link so that he could send it to somebody else that had access to the same extranet. So we could conceivably check out this document and it would prompt me to download it, which is what it's doing here. Would consider it to be checked out, and I could take it, I could work with it, I could come back and bring it back in by checking it in, which I'm going to cancel. And just like you would have if you're a Worldox client, you're familiar with the check-in and check-out procedure, but this is a capability that you can extend beyond Worldox out through the extranet to co-counsel, to your client, to the adjusters that work at the insurance company that you're litigating cases for, to a whole host of different people. Another bit of functionality that's available for counsel, the user I'm logged in as right now, as opposed to B client, is the ability to add a document. So we can give a document a name and a description and select all the different things that we want to apply to this document. We'll go over those in a second. And then choose the document itself from our own hard disk or our own network and then upload it. We're not going to do that, but you can see here that it knows when it was created, what folder it should go in. You can select the right folder. You can select what folders to link it to, who's going to be notified that this is up there, who's going to be allowed to see it and allowed to participate in the review of this document. Are we going to allow it to be checked out? Can it be viewed in the browser? Is it secure? Do we have that watermark? Remember that confidential, do not distribute watermark we saw just now? Do we want to remove metadata? This is all built into Legal Anywhere and can be selected by the people that are allowed to upload documents on a document-by-document basis. Now, that said, I'm going to do one more thing here. Taking a look at my notes real quick. Okay. One other thing I want to point out, I'm going to log back out and log right back in as counsel because I want you to see this. I didn't bring it to light when I logged in before, but what you'll notice is that we come straight to the documents. We don't go to that main Williams-Faulkner welcome to our secure client access area screen. We don't go to a specific matter, although we could. We're going straight to documents for a certain matter. We're opening up the corporate matter, we're going straight to documents. I could even take this user straight to the due diligence checklist responses document area, and that would be what they saw immediately upon logging into the system. So you're allowed and you're capable of setting up users to go specifically to the things that they need access to right away without having to have them navigate through the structure. Now I will take the liberty of switching to Internet Explorer. I'll explain why in a second, and logging in as P. Purdue. Of course, P. Purdue has access to everything and can do certain things that nobody else could do that I've shown you so far. Now I want to explain why I want to have access to Internet Explorer as opposed to going through Chrome. Users of the extranet can use whatever browser they want. Chrome, Mozilla, I almost said Netscape. Boy, that really dates me. So for you young kids that are listening to this that don't know what Netscape is, just know that it makes me very old to even know what Netscape is. But nonetheless, any browser will be able to access the extranet. But if we're going to take advantage specifically of the ability to do what I'm about to show you, which is right-click on a file and send to the client portal, we'll go into more detail on that in a second, then I need to be logged in through Internet Explorer, which is what I'm going to do, and here I am. Now, I have certain other things available to me that we don't have here for Susie client or Susie counsel and Bob client. I have the ability to administer, and in a minute we're going to show you how to set up a new matter very, very quickly. But first, let's go out here and take a look at how we get documents in here. We have this thing called the upload tool. And first thing it does upon loading is it contacts the extranet. And then we can click on Browse. And we can go out to our folder structure. This is for non-Worldox users. And we can click and go to a document. I'm going to take this legal infrastructure. Actually, I'm going to take this Paul GTWJPG, and I'm going to put it into the Legal Anywhere upload tool. And then I can go through these screens, select which matter it goes to. I can select which folder it goes to. I'm going to put these in policies and procedures. It knows who I am, so it's going to put it up there as something I put up, who has access to it, and a couple other settings that we won't go into too much detail on. And I click Finish, and it takes this file and puts it up in the right place. Now, anybody, once this file is up there, anybody can simply go in, My Matters, Corporate, Documents, and I think I put it in Policies and Procedures, and there it is. Paul, go to Webinar JPEG. Now, I must have skipped over the part where you set it as secure because it is shown up as a secure document. That's why it's shaded this way. What you can do here also, if you have Worldox, is simply click on a file, right-click on it, choose Send To, and choose Client Portal. I'm going to close this because we don't want that one open, and we're going to send this to the Client Portal. Now, those of you who have Worldox know that you have a lot of things you can send to. You can send to your desktop, you can send to your documents, you can set up special Send To commands, and that's exactly what Legal Anywhere has done. They set up a special Send To command within Worldox that sends to the Client Portal, and when you execute that, it opens up that same uploader tool that we were just in with this document in there ready to go. Now, this is an email, but an email is a document as far as Worldox and as far as even without Worldox, an email can be considered a document. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the same place, Water's Edge Corporate. I'm going to put it in Policies and Procedures again. We're going to go here. We're going to set it for everybody to access, and we're going to finish. Hopefully it's not an email with an attachment I didn't pay. Nope, it's not. I was going to say I didn't pay attention to that, so it'll go up very quickly. We're going to close this up. We're going to go back over to Legal Anywhere. We're going to go back and refresh this, and now we have a second document. All there ready to go. Now, one of the things that I think I kind of skipped over when we were uploading a document was the notification. If we have 7 or 8 people that are all accessing this particular folder, this particular matter, if you will, this case, this matter on our extranet, they may want to know when new documents come in. So they can set up preferences that they want to be notified every time a new document's coming in. They want to be notified with a digest at the end of the day that shows all the documents that have come in. So this is really a very full-featured extranet designed specifically for sharing legal specific information, for litigation, for deal rooms. If you've got, I've seen clients that have set up a deal room in Legal Anywhere, gotten it set up in about 35 seconds, spent an hour with the different parties in the negotiation, and closed up the portal within an hour or two of having opened it. So very quick and easy to create these, use them, and then get rid of them. Or, of course, if you're in a litigation, like let's say you're an insurance defense firm, and you want to give your insurance companies access to specific documents when a litigation gets to a certain stage, those will last a lot longer. But it is so simple that you can set up a deal room, a matter-specific or even not matter-specific place, portal, extranet site within a matter of seconds. So let's go do that. We're going to go to Matter Administration. We're going to take this Water's Edge Corporate. Didn't mean to do that. We're going to go back. Didn't mean to click on it like that. Let's go back here. Matter Administration. Water's Edge Corporate, and instead of clicking on it, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to Copy Matter. What this means is that you would have a set blanket default template that you would set up probably on a, let's say you're an insurance defense firm, probably on a insurance company by insurance company basis that already has the users and groups and permissions set up, already has a folder structure set up, already has certain discussion lists set up, and so you would simply go in, and the only thing you wouldn't copy is the messages and documents because you want to start a new shell, a new blank matter, and you want to give it a new name. Let's say this is the Jones v. McDonald's case, and that is it. Right there, Jones v. McDonald's. We now have a new case, a new extranet. Now, think about it. From a deal room standpoint, we've got something that we need to hash out. It's going to take an hour. We don't want to just get people together on the phone. We want people to be able to see documents. Maybe even certain people should be able to edit documents. We want to see this happening. Perfect. 37 seconds, and you've got the matter set up. From another standpoint, you've got a new client. and the new client, they're not new yet. They haven't decided to come with your firm. They're looking at 3 firms, and they want to see what you can do. You can set up a sample extranet for them in under a minute and show them your capabilities to share documents, to share information, to share discussions, and you can do it very easily. It's not something that takes a great long time. So there you have it. We've logged in as people with different levels of access. We've created a new portal, a new matter, if you will. We have looked at how we upload the documents. We've looked at how easy it is to upload them straight from Worldox. One thing I will point out is we don't have to upload them one at a time. We can say send to client portal, and it'll say what do you want to send, the for checked, of course. And now it will do the same thing. It will load the document uploader tool. One of those documents I selected is already up there for this matter, and it recognizes that. And there they are, all 4 of those documents ready to go to be loaded into a certain matter in the client portal. Now, a minute here about, I didn't mean to click finish, a minute here about the competition. There are 3 levels of competition for this sort of a product. There's the Dropbox and the Dropbox copycats sort of arrangement. Those are pretty much strictly sharing documents in a folder without any extranet, without any ability to lock down security on a user or document basis, without it being very, very complex. You're not going to have any integration directly with Worldox. You're not going to have the ability to set up a calendar or a discussion forum or to list the contacts and information for the people that are tied to the matter. None of that's going to be there. There's going to be no branding, and there's going to be no ability to tie it into your website. It's more of a utility, more of a tool. There's the share file type of approach. A share file is a little bit like Legal Anywhere. I like to call it more like a Dropbox on steroids. You're not going to get the same branding capabilities. You're not going to get the same true extranet capabilities. Again, no discussion lists, no actual incorporation into your website, not quite the level of user authentication and privileges, and it's not really anything but a place to share documents. It's not anything more than that. And finally, we've got the SharePoint level of competition, very expensive to implement, whereas ShareFile is lower priced than Legal Anywhere. SharePoint is extremely more expensive than Legal Anywhere. For one thing, usually you are doing that on a server, a specific SharePoint server on your network. So you've got all the costs of the hardware and the IT and maintaining it, and it is basically a software development platform. So you can develop really neat cloud applications in a SharePoint type environment, but you have to have a team of programmers to make that sort of a thing happen. It's not the kind of thing you just saw where you say, let's set up a new matter for the McDonald's cases that we're handling for Jones Insurance Company and have it done in 37 seconds. So we've got the extra cost of SharePoint, the extra maintenance cost, and the complexity that make it unusable in the type of people that we deal with, which is a 1 to 50 attorney firm. And then you've got your lower level, your Dropboxes and your copycats of Dropbox, and the ShareFile platform, which is kind of a glorified Dropbox, and we're somewhere in the middle. I like to think we're a little bit closer to the SharePoint in capabilities, but not in complexity and price. And speaking of price, Legal Anywhere will give you 5 licenses, the ability for 5 people within your firm to upload documents to the extranet for free. But that's kind of like Gillette giving away the razors to sell the blades. They then provide the hosting to you at $500 a month, and it doesn't matter almost at all how many users you add. It will still be $500 a month to host. So you're hosting this infrastructure. It may go up just a little bit if you get up to, let's say, 20, 25, 30 users. Additional users for licensing are $500. It's a one-time fee, and they do charge a $2,500 fee to set up integrate, brand, build, train, all the things that need to happen in order to make this work for you. So bottom line, out of the gate, you've got an $8,500 investment, which covers setting up the entire infrastructure. You've got the 5 users coming in free, so there's no cost there, and that covers your hosting charges for a year. Additional users are going to be at that $500 price point, and that's really up to you. That's just how many people can upload documents from your firm. So I've seen firms of 30 attorneys with 55 employees, total employees using the 5 licenses. I've seen firms smaller than that having 10, 15, 20 licenses. It's just a matter of how you're going to do it and how you're going to structure it and who's going to upload the documents and who's going to maintain the extranet. Leanne, do we have any questions? She's nodding no. So I guess that means either that I have done a good job of explaining or everyone has fallen asleep. Hopefully it is not the latter. But if you do have questions that you either don't remember right now or until later, or you just don't want to ask in a public environment, simply send me an email. It's paul.purdue@attorneycomputersystems.com. It's Purdue is like the school, not the chicken, so it's paul.purdue@attorneycomputersystems.com. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a good afternoon, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.